Well, everyone. The day has finally come. Black Monday. The market is down over 3%. Worse if you're in the NASDAQ. If you're tech heavy, God help you. 7% down over the last month because there was a big drop last week as well. And everybody is basically losing their minds, in panic mode, etc. And I don't blame y'all. It's pretty alarming. People seeing a lot of paper losses. Now remember, it's only a loss if you sell, unless of course you're jacked to the tits on margin, in which case could be pretty bad for you. And hey, if you're me, you're down quite a lot, maybe a little less than the overall market in this specific time frame, but you could zoom it out and find a time frame where the market was up a lot and I missed out on some of the gains. So it's not as though I'm out here crushing the market by any means, but I am in a couple of names that might just be insulating me a little bit here. One of which is MPW, because they're sort of trading on their own catalysts right now. They have the Steward Chapter 11 and they're a REIT, so they have some possible interest rate catalysts coming up. If there's rate cuts, that should benefit them quite a lot. And of course, BTI is another one of those. It's a consumer staple, high moat, trading at a low multiple of cash flow and a high yield on cost. That could see some benefits as well. And up until today, they were actually running up. A lot of money was flowing in to that stock. It sold off a bit today along with everything else, but that's one I feel pretty good about, being sort of defensive for the current situation. And honestly, it's undervalued. It's trading at 5 times free cash flow or something like that. Now, if you've been really heavy in tech, may God have mercy on your soul. I'm even feeling this. I decided to open a position in Amazon, for example, and it has just done nothing but trade down since I opened. Granted, I did go near the high. I didn't go heavy at the high. I've been dollar cost averaging in slowly because it started to pull back a little bit from that high, and I thought, hey, maybe there will be a deeper pullback and a chance to still get in at an okay cost average on Amazon. So I definitely I'm liking it pretty well where it's at as a zone for accumulation, and I think the future is more than likely going to be better for Amazon, not worse. Intel is one where, if anything, I probably got in too early there. I've been in that one since 2022, and I've seen it go down to, from $47 down to $24, and then back up to $50, and now down to $20. It's been a really, really rocky ride, and it's going to be a while before, if I am at all rewarded as a shareholder, it's going to be a while. So if anything, yeah, that one is basically, for me anyway, at my basis in the low 30s, pretty much destined to underperform. Unfortunately, some other names in my portfolio hopefully will do better. It certainly isn't an area where I'm interested in necessarily selling Intel, but I don't think I'm really looking to to average down or anything right now either. I'm more or less just content to sit for the moment. I could change my mind at some point in the future, but this volatility is definitely something. And the bad earnings report they had just now coming out around the time of this big sell-off as well, it all really coincided in a way that really hit the share price, and I expect it just to suck for a while on that one. Now, if you're like Strongman Personal Finance and you invest in VT, you were hit a little less hard than if you were in the S&P 500 or in the QQQ, or if you were tech heavy or whatever. This is the whole world stock market at market cap weights. So yes, you will get hurt because still those large cap tech companies are still the biggest pieces at the top of VT. But since there are so many other stocks in VT, some of which maybe didn't react as badly, it softens the blow a little bit and you're not as badly hurt as if you were mostly in large cap tech like the QQQ or the names that sit at the top, the Mag 6 or Mag 7, whatever you want to call them. They're not looking so mag the last few days, that's for sure. Now, on the flip side, if you're basically the opposite of a index fund investor, you're not a passive holder of the whole market, you're a high yield dividend warrior, well, you might just be getting margin called today like our good friend We the Khmers. I think he said something one time about me when I tried to tell him that this may not be like the best method of investing. Well, yeah, wonder how that feels.
Wow, fiscal philosophy, you're not very smart at all.
So as we approach the endpoint of this little journey we've been on today, I want to give some credit where it's due. There's this guy, Michael at Lead Lag Report on X or Twitter. He's been warning about Japan, the yen, reverse carry trade for a good hot minute. And yes, it looks like there were possibly some warning signs, and I'm not going to get into everything regarding that. You can Google the term reverse carry trade or reverse carry trade Japan and kind of get an idea, at least, of what he was talking about. It's pretty interesting. Doesn't really affect my long-term investing style or anything like that. At the end of the day, if I pay a certain amount of money for a future stream of cash flow over a long period of time, as Peter Lynch says, there will be a 100% correlation between a stock's financial performance and their share price. So with that, I'm not panicking, but if you were following what this fellow was saying and you perhaps bought some protective puts or something ahead of time, you might have been insulated from a lot of the hit. So there is something to be said for foresight on this. Now, let's talk a little bit about MPW because there's some interesting stuff coming this week, and they seem to be trading in their own way that's not really super correlated to the rest of the market. So MPW, while up overall for the last month, has started to backslide somewhat, seems to be hitting around this 460 mark and not really deviating too terribly much from there. We do have earnings to look forward to this Thursday, and any continued developments that happen on the Steward bankruptcy, of course, will affect how the stock trades. Now, I'm potentially going to be covering the earnings live. You are welcome to comment below if you want that. If there's a lot of demand, I almost certainly will try to do so. We certainly will go over it a little bit this weekend on the Cash Flow Kings live channel at 8 p.m. Eastern on Saturday night. And we will be having on the 17th a Medical Properties Trust roundtable. We want to have basically a group of people who are invested in the stock on the show on the 17th, also 8 p.m. Eastern, to discuss what happens on this week's earnings, what's maybe happening with rates, and this overall Black Monday thing, and how maybe it's affecting the stock and our outlook on it. So don't miss that if you're interested. But overall, really all I want on this next earnings is just to hear, one, is the stabilized portfolio still doing well? Two, on the cash basis portfolio, have they been collecting rents from the bankrupt Steward and Prospect? And how does the liquidity that they've raised position them with regards to their debt maturities? and any color they can provide on how they think the steward bankruptcy proceedings are going, the bidding, and all of that on the steward assets. If they have any sort of projections or guidance on how, if they'll be made whole, or if not, like just what they think they will be able to get from the scraps of steward. Maybe if they're still positive on stewardship getting bought for a pretty penny, that would be, all good stuff to hear. Now, they may not be able to talk about specific negotiations that have been taking place on some of the steward assets because there's some confidentiality stuff. They've been pretty quiet on the whole steward thing as far as like press releases and stuff like that, because there is this confidentiality that's supposed to be upheld while negotiations and things are ongoing. But not everybody else, like some other people are really squawking, other interested parties. And so they're the ones that are kind of respecting that at the moment, and others are not so much. So leave a comment below if you're interested in the live coverage on earnings, or possibly coming by the MPW roundtable on the 17th. Look forward to hearing from you. As the thing comes up that reminds you to like and subscribe, I just want to share a little bit about why I called the channel Fiscal Philosophy. Now, fiscal obviously refers to finance or money, and philosophy refers to reflecting on your own methods and assumptions. And I've said many times that this is a conversation about investing, and that's what the Discord's for. Link in the description. I want to have a healthy discussion about investing where we actually reflect on our own methods and assumptions. This is not about I'm right because I'm some kind of authority figure. And I would encourage anybody out there to question anyone who voluntarily puts themselves forth as some kind of expert who you should follow or buy a course from. I don't think that's the way you get to the best answers in this realm, but time will tell if I'm right on that or not. Take it easy, everyone, and have a wonderful day.